on the other side of the car. And what, you know I need to get that fixed. And so then I just started checking everything. Went underneath and hit this. Man, they just don't make cars like they used to, do they? I mean, this is a 2015, and that is as strong as that is, but I wanted to make sure that everything was tight on it, and there's no real chattering or anything on that. But then I even looked underneath the wheel well, and on the wheel well, there's little, see this perforated stuff, and that kind of protects up inside the wheel well. And you want to make sure that stuff's tight, because see this thing right here, right there, that little dealy bob, there's a screw that comes out. I just tighten that up with my hands. They're plastic. You don't want to tighten them up too much. And it was loose. Here's another one right here. See? If I really cinch down on it, I can loosen that up. Well, some of those were loose, and I thought that might do something. I even reached down. See, there's one way back in there, right there. You can see it. And I reached down in here. There's another one back in here you can't really see. Okay, and I just followed everything. This was actually pooched out over the trim, and I was hitting on that, and it kind of felt like it was making a noise before. So I tightened all that kind of stuff up. It's amazing all the different little things you can see underneath the car if you just crawl under there and look. And in fact, see, this is all hard plastic under here. And you know what? I need to check these, because I could still hear different things chattering, but it seems to be towards the back of the car, mid-range of the car and back. And so I didn't really look up in here that close. I did look at this little area to make sure that was tight, and moved on that, make sure the screws are tight and all that kind of stuff. And this one seemed to be fine. Okay, but I looked on the other side and I found something going on that, but we'll just get back underneath the car here for a second. I'm holding the camera with one hand and trying to talk to you and show you things with the other. And so, I just started just looking at different things. That's all a mechanic's going to do. He's going to start poking that, but he'd be up underneath, he'd put the car on a lift probably. Well, you don't have a lift. That's why we're down here. Let's just check some stuff out first, because maybe it's something you can fix. Maybe you can get rid of 2 or 3 of the noises, and maybe they only have to take care of one, let's say, or whatever. Here we are towards the back of the car, and I wanted to show you one thing that I ended up fixing that I never would have dreamt that it would be caused from there. This is just part of the fender. It's kind of plasticky and stuff, and it's got some clips on there. See how they put a clip on there and put a screw? There's 2 pieces of plastic, not plastic, but vinyl or heavy plastic stuff, and they got it tight. Well, they had one there, they had one over there, but the 2 pieces here were chattering, and I could just tap it and they would chatter and stuff, and I thought, okay, that's one. So I pre-drilled a screw hole right there, and I just rammed a screw up in there to hold those 2 together, and I fixed that squeak nice and easy. I just put a screw in there, and the tip of the screw is sticking out, but it's not hurting anything, and I fixed that one. I mean, had you have gone someplace and had the auto mechanic just check that out and fix that one thing, he'd probably charge you, for an hour's worth of his time, $120 for putting in that one screw. you'd about freak if that happened to you. Okay, so that's why we're just checking a few things out, that's all. You know, it doesn't hurt you to do that. You've just got to get in a mindset to start checking a few things out on your own. Don't start making the assumption that it's going to be so tricky that you can't do it yourself at home, right? I just read an article. Let's get this back up here in here. I read an article that millennials, a lot of them don't even know. Now this might not go to you, but some millennials don't even know how to change a light bulb. 36% of millennials, they're afraid they might damage their fingernails. I read it and thought it was a joke, but I think it was a true article. And millennials just don't want to check things out on their own because they're afraid they might break something, they might hurt themselves. But you just got to get into the habit of starting to check a few things out on your own, okay? And so that's what I'm doing here and showing you, just trying to give you the confidence that you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be somebody special. I'm just an average Joe, like I say. And I want to show you one of my bush repairs. I was looking at this and it was chattering all over the place. And let me show you what happened. Why it was doing that. Let's get under here and see if I can't show you. This here is attached on this side. There was a little flap that went up and screwed into there, like a bracket that's attached. Well, it's broken. It's broken there, and that was loose, and this thing was just flopping all over the place. I thought, how am I going to fix that? Do I have to order a new one of these so I could take this all off just to fix that? And I started looking at that. I thought, how else can I fix that? Ask yourself that question, okay? How else can I fix it? What would Joe do to fix that? And I looked over here and see, I made sure that these screws were tight. I looked at this piece and see how it goes back in there and it stops back in there. And that was still moving around. I thought, if I could screw that tight, maybe I don't have to replace this whole thing. Replace that one piece. You could probably order that for, I don't know, $75, $100 at the store, $150. I have no idea. And then you have to get the right color and everything. And so I just moved the tire out. I got up in the car, turned the car on, and then turned the tires out all the way. And son of a gun, I could reach that area, and I pre-drilled some holes through the plastic, and it's attached to plastic down in there. And I rammed 2 screws in there. I pre-drilled it first, smaller holes, and then I put some screws in there that I could barely reach once I turned this tire out of the way. And voila, it's nice and tight, and it's fixed. You know, I probably saved myself $150, $200 right there. And like I said, you don't have to have this same type of car. You can look underneath your car, you can start looking at things, make determinations of, let's see, how can I fix certain things, you know? And here's another thing. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, that was right. It was right there. Let's get the light shining over here. This is a little plastic diverter. It's kind of protecting, it looks like the gas tank is here. And this is protecting that. If any rocks come, it hits this before your gas tank. And that was all nice and tight. But the plastic right here, I would just touch it and it would vibrate all over the place. And it was just this little bit between this plastic and the frame that would vibrate when I tapped on it. and that screw was tight. There was nothing else I could do, and I thought, I'll just loosen that up. And see this little thing right here? Right there. That's this little piece of rubber. I had some rubber. I had some little things. Every once in a while, I try to save little pieces like, hey, maybe I can use that later. And I had it over by my toolbox, and I loosened this up and I just put it in there